Welcome to Eagles Kickoff Live. I'm Gail Saunders here with the boys, just waiting for this big game, right? We're all excited. I mean, yeah, we're pumped up to see the Jalen Hurts era started. I can see it in your faces, man. I can see it. I can see. I can feel the vibes. Again, I'm here on evaluator note. Just really just seeing the next steps of this football team. We're going week in, week out of drama, new added elements to the pieces every single week. There's struggles behind the scenes. Our Lord Savior in Carson Wentz, the Ginger Jesus, is now not resurrected, but he's back in the cave. I don't know what the scene looks like from here. I just think, you're going up against top-notch defense. You got a rookie quarterback. We got drama. We got a tuggle behind the scenes. What's there not to like? I mean, the reality show is here. Welcome to the show. How you guys feeling?
Hanging in, man. I'm hanging in. So, like, when the season first started, we're eyeing up this section of the schedule. We're seeing all these good teams we're going to be playing, and we were anticipating being one of those good teams ourselves. And now we're rolling into this matchup, and it's Jalen Hurts versus Taysom Hill.
I say, hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right.
Something ain't right. I was not expecting to see this when I was saying on Jimmy's show just the other day that when we got Jalen Hurts and we were told that this is going to be Taysom Hill on steroids, and lo and behold, we've got the Taysom Hill versus Jalen Hurts bowl right now. So I'm interested to see what this matchup is going to look like. It certainly seems like Jalen Hurts has a little bit of an issue considering the fact that he's going up against the number one defense in the league, and this is his first start. So Taysom Hill somewhat has the advantage in this situation, but I'm with you, Gail. I'm looking for the development of these players. I just want to see what we have on this roster and who we can move forward with next season.
It's time, man. How are you feeling, Jim?
Well, you know me. I always try to get excited about my birds, always try to be positive and look at the outlook from maybe not the last couple of weeks. I will say that, maybe I wasn't so positive because of the fact that we knew we could take some ass beatings, and it's very possible today. This Saints defense is very good, very good. And, the thing I'm excited about, though, is the unknown, the what if. Jalen Hurts, he brings that spark, that excitement. Ev talked about being on my show. We talked about that new quarterback energy, as he said. And, I'm all about it. I'm excited. I want to see maybe we simplify the offense. That's something we've talked about over and over again. Roll this kid out like you should have with Carson Wentz. The offensive line's banged up, 12th out of 13. That's too much. 12 different lines in 13 games. Come on. So run the ball. We talk about the same things we say over and over again, but the excitement is high for me because it's the unknown. And I just want to see this Eagles team bring some heart. So let's go, baby.
Soko.
Yeah, so I'm kind of with Jimmy, man. Like I woke up this morning feeling good, got my shower, everything else like that. And I actually, was sitting in the shower vibing out to some music. I was like, damn, it kind of feels like a little refreshing to, come into a game day and see something new and unexpected, Obviously my expectations aren't super high for Jalen Hurts. He's like Evan alluded to, we're going up against the number one defense in the NFL right now. But I think it's going to be a little refreshing for us because I think it's going to be a simplified offense, kind of like what Jimmy said, and we're going to get back to that run game, and you're going to see a lot of read options with Jalen and Miles, and I think that's going to help this offense get rolling and maybe keep the defense on the sideline for a little bit longer, and maybe we'll see a spark from the defense as well.
I mean, I'm on the same page as everybody else. It finally feels like there's something to be excited for. And I think we're gonna figure some stuff out today. So after, come 8 o'clock, 7:30, 8 o'clock, we're gonna know a lot more than we did, sitting here. And that's what I'm kind of excited about. As far as Jalen Hurts go, what I'd like to see out of him is just a game where he kind of competes and plays like he did in college, where he was more of the main game manager type of guy. Didn't make too many mistakes. And he would even miss throws here and there, but I feel like he makes up for it in other facets, his mobility and stuff like that. So I'm just excited to see something different. And hopefully it is something different. If we go in there and it's the same vanilla game plan that has kind of tore us apart all year, I'm going to be pretty frustrated, and it's going to be very, very, very annoying because, you heard Peterson in his press conference this week say we're going to implement more of the run game, try to use more underneath routes and stuff like this, and screens. So I'm excited, man, and I'm sure everybody else is. It's something new, it's a change, and it's something to look forward to. And don't get me wrong, I love Carson, but we definitely needed something switched up here.
I mean, a change was a long time coming. I mean, we watched Carson week in and week out. 12 weeks of poor play. Carson is yet to give us a performance like, the old Carson that we once knew. I mean, you can't go a whole season like that and expect, for us not to be upset as a fan base. And it's in the NFL, it's what have you done for me lately? That's always the vibe, and that's what it is. And when they had that meeting about being held accountable, team leaders came together. It hit him right in the face, because if one player needs to be held accountable, it was Carson Wentz. Hard to say because you love the guy, but it's, we in the city of Philadelphia, it's quarterbacks know if you have poor play, the city will tell you, and that's what it is. The coach, if you're the head coach of the Eagles and your team is 3-8-1, you're gonna get the smoke. So, but I just want to give a shout out to all the people early up in the chat: Shaquan, Jordan, Malcolm, Money Bags. Shout out to Drew. Let's go Birds today. Mark is feeling a vibe. He's got zero expectations, so he woke up feeling good about himself. Shout out to Puga in El Paso. Ready for Hurts season. You guys,
we're ready. We're ready, bro.
Yeah, and it's nothing against Carson. I love Carson, but yeah, it's time for a little change. We knew what would happen if Carson played, right? We know that this pass rush is going to get after us, and they're third in the league in sacks, but since week 9, they've been the top pass rusher, rating. And it's like, look, dude, we know what we're facing. A lot of people want to be negative, and I get it. We've been the last few weeks though. So why not have a little excitement for the unknown? Let's go Birds.
Yeah. And to be honest, talking about how we don't feel bad for Carson in this sense. I mean, we do feel bad, but like he's had a longer leash than pretty much any Eagles quarterback I can really ever think of. Like, we have given him the benefit of the doubt the entire season, and we've gone pretty much the entire length of the season. It's a wrap at this point. So we've wasted an entire season on, hoping that he would turn things around and hoping that he would show us the light. And, time's up, man. I'm not saying time's up on your entire career here, but for the rest of the season, we just got to evaluate what we have.
I mean, Jason says time is now. He says, I can't wait to see the kid. Go Birds, go hard. Trevor says, run the damn ball for the top 5 pick. I'm feeling that idea of running the football. I mean, you have a guy like Miles Sanders, who is like left out to dry. I mean, anyone who's ever played running back, to get 16 carries in one game it's reasonable, but 16 carries in 2 games, that's absurd. And for a guy like Miles Sanders, I mean,
for an Eagles team,
is it ridiculous, the usage of Miles Sanders?
I mean, if you look at not just Miles Sanders, but our rushing rankings as a team, we are the 3rd ranked team in the amount of yards we get per rushing play, at 4.98 yards per play. So the fact that we have had such a struggling offense all year long, and we are the 3rd ranked per yards per play, like, doesn't that add up to you that we should be trying that a little bit more?
Yes.
Yeah, kind of.
Definitely. And I mean, Sanders leads the NFL in expected yards per rush with 6 yards. And the Eagles as a team lead the NFL. They're first in the NFL in expected yards per rush. And they don't run the ball, which is a little mind-boggling. I mean, I get it. I said this the other day, and I saw a graphic that had the Eagles. They run the ball 2% less than expected. And a lot of that plays into the fact that they're always playing from behind. They have some bad setups on drives, whether it be bad field position or they, pick up the ball with about 45 seconds left in a half. So it's definitely other factors that play into it, just aside from not giving him the ball. But I would just like to see it a little bit more. That's all.
Yeah.
And
Ask for it every week, man.
especially in a situation like this where we have a brand new quarterback coming in, you want to lean on your playmakers in this offense. I mean, you don't want to just throw Jalen to the wolves and tell him, yo, go make it happen versus the number one defense in the league. You want the playmakers to kind of lead the playbook this week.
You know, it's crazy. We've been asking for this every week, though. I mean, you know, it's like, yep, this is what they should do. They should come out here, establish the run, and enables them to do all these things that we're talking about. And yet, Doug never does it. So it's like, dude, if he comes out here and, you know, I heard somebody, I believe it was Luke, saying about, you know, you can't come out with the same offensive game plan. So if that's what happens, I understand if maybe you want to have simplified reads, 1 or 2, and, you know, then tell them, you know, run the ball. Get it. You know, I know they were trying to stop Carson from doing that, but Jalen Hurts, he's a great athlete. So you got to use that. And I would be very pissed off, and I will be pissed off in the post-game show if Doug does not use Hurts to his abilities. And, I mean, I guess we've been saying it with Carson, but I'm trying to be positive, guys. So
if this Eagles offense comes out with the same level of like just being able to work together as they've had the entire season with Carson Wentz under center, are we kind of going to shift all of our anger and attention towards Doug Peterson, or is this kind of like a mulligan game since this is Jalen's first game and, you know, it's the number one defense? Are we going to factor that in? Or if like we come out, get completely blown out and the offense doesn't get any rhythm whatsoever, are we going to shift all of our energy towards just blasting Doug Peterson?
I mean, I think it's a tough scene right now for a rookie quarterback to go in here, let alone Tom Brady has looked shook against you know, they've shooken him up. Matt Ryan, these are seasoned veterans. So the fact that you have a rookie who's I think that the idea of him running for his life could be a thing, but I'm excited to see him do it. Cause I mean, sometimes, you know, you got a quarterback that has legs and can use them and run like a running back in space. That's where you need to utilize the skill set, especially given the scenario. But I think, you know, Mike says, watch out for Jenkins. I think Malcolm Jenkins back there knows all the answers to the test right now. So,
yeah. And yeah. Sean Payton, the king of the bounty gate.
Well, think of it this way. Malcolm Jenkins knows Carson Wentz, so we knew what would have happened. I mean, I think we have a better chance right now with the fact that Jalen Hurts just brings something new to the table, man. And sure, we could definitely get our ass handed to us by a great defense like this, but maybe our defense steps it up, puts us in a good position to run the ball, to establish the things we want to do. Because I believe Soko said it, you know, the play action, RPO. I mean, that's simplifying things, and that's just basic things that help him. And it would have helped Carson, but let's go, Doug.
Yeah, kind of going back to like what Gail said, with shifting our energy towards Doug, like Doug runs a West Coast offense, so a lot of the offense is supposed to be short passes. You establish your pass to the run game, your screen game, and then a lot of slants, a lot of outs. And what we're seeing from Doug this year is kind of more of like a Bruce Arians, like an air raid offense, where a lot of the passes are going down the field, over the middle of the field, and teams are keying in on that. We don't have any under routes that are being established because we keep either our tight ends in as extra blockers, or our running back has to pick up for our poor offensive line play and pick up the pass rush, and we don't have an outlet. So a lot of the kind of like my sack thread, what I did on Carson Wentz on the timeline, like you're seeing a lot of these plays that aren't being established properly because of the lack of ability on the offensive line, and you know how many changes we've had in the offensive line, and tight ends having to pick up their slack, running backs have to pick up extra blitzers. So we're not seeing a full Doug Peterson offense and, you know, the way that it should be utilized.
Yeah, Lynette on Facebook, she says, I'm always an Eagle supporter. Carson just needs to take a mental and physical break. 50 sacks and still standing is remarkable, but I think the concussion affected his mental football skills. I mean, that's a lot of sacks to be taken. I think the idea of them talking about doing a hard reset on Carson's season. Let's see. We have Chris Mortensen saying that Eagles coach Doug Peterson left it simple that Jalen Hurts is the starter for this game versus Saints, but the player and team sources believe it's for the rest of the season, barring injury or disastrous play. But as one player noted, it's been a disaster anyway, with too many issues to count.
What I'm thinking about right now, just reading that, can you imagine how awkward and ugly this gets if Jalen Hurts comes out and it's equally as bad? And then we have to trot Carson back out there like, hey, you ready to play some football, guy? Hope you brought your pads. Like, that will be such a bad situation to be in. That's why we're sitting here hoping that Jalen Hurts can put something together. But, I mean, it could potentially get really weird in here.
Yeah.
Even weirder than it already is.
Running backs, receivers, and line better help.
Imagine like a Nathan Peterman start where the guy goes out in the first pass, he throws as a pick six, and then throws 2 more picks on ensuing drives. And then you have to trot Carson back out there like, hey, bud, like, sorry, we benched you, but we need you, kind of thing. And it's like, I know we all want to expect the best out of a backup in Philadelphia because of what we've had in the past, but be careful what you wish for. That's all I'm saying.
Jordan says, I'm excited to give Wentz a chance to get his head together. I think we're all just kind of – I'm wanting him to get his head together, get his body some rest. I mean, if you hit a person enough, they will flinch. And we got – they got the hesitation move in the in the NBA. Carson Wentz has the hezzy because he's pulling that hezzy, or the happy feet. He's got it. It is what it is. All from London, our resident London folk. I don't care who starts for us. We have much bigger things to fry. That is fire Howie. Bring in a guy that knows how to spot talent in the draft, free agency, and hire an OC that will help Doug with his play calling.
I'm with you, Paul.
I mean, I was talking about that for a while. Like, correct me if I'm wrong. We're the only team in the NFL without an offense coordinator.
Without a true offensive coordinator.
What did you say?
Without a true offensive coordinator. Preston.
Yeah. So, do the Niners have one?
Yeah,
who?
They have. I can't think of his name. I know Kyle Shanahan calls the plays, but they have somebody in the offensive coordinator role.
So it's like, just think about the day-to-day tasks a head coach has to deal with, and then the day-to-day tasks an offensive coordinator has to deal with, and then you just put both of them on a Doug Peterson, and then you see like stupid mistakes. Sometimes people don't know who's supposed to be in what package on the field, and it's a testament to Doug not being able to allot enough time to being the head coach, being the offensive coordinator, and doing both at a very, very high level, and that's why we're seeing a lot of the undiscipline and the confusion on offense, and it's frustrating because it's as simple as just having an offensive coordinator, I think.
Yeah, I think that you just touched on something huge right there too, because like that's something I really hasn't really been talked about, hasn't really been considered, is that Carson's been having such an off year, so Doug Peterson has had to a lot of time to try and fix that. So we're looking at all the other holes that exist on this team. Doug Peterson also has to try and fix those holes too. If we take some things off of Doug Peterson's plate, he doesn't have to spread himself so thin, and maybe these situations get handled. But my man's trying to do everything by himself, and it's not working out.
Yeah, too much more. Is he a micromanager?
I could tell it seems like that. Because if he wants to have all this control, it seems like he's in the mindset of, if these guys can't do it right, I'm just going to do it myself.
But I think Doug is like he's totally pressing. I think he's out of his element. I don't think Howie helps him be a better coach. I feel like Howie's meddling, and I feel like Doug feels like, who are you to meddle in what I'm trying to accomplish when I got you guys a Super Bowl? But then again, behind the scenes, I feel like front office is like, well, we see what other people don't see. We see the back end and who was actually doing what, and we feel like that you might not be that guy. And from the production of the offense now, they could be thinking that it could be, Doug Peterson. But over under 15 carries for Miles, says James.
Better be over.
Yeah, I'm smashing the over on that.
Yeah?
It isn't Miles. I think
I want to say over, but I don't know if I believe it if I were to say it. I want to,
Yeah.
because that's the game plan I would go into the game with. I would go definitely over 15 carries.
They only
But-
allow like 76 yards per game. I think they're like second in the league, right? So
Yeah,
I mean,
second
they're
in the
good
league.
against the run too. It's not just
Mhm.
a pass rush we're dealing with here. So,
I'm going to say under.
dude, they've got Demario Davis and Quan Alexander watching Miles Sanders. So, I mean, this is going to be tough for even the tight ends, Ertz and Goddard. They've got a damn good defense, man.
I want them to go over 16 here, Bear. I mean, over 15, but the fact that they haven't gone, they've only 16 in 2 games. It's yet to be seen. So I mean,
And we're most likely going to be playing from behind, which is going to, take the ball out of Miles' hands.
Coach says Sanders should touch the ball 20 times per game.
I agree with Coach.
I agree with you. He's your best offensive playmaker.
Luke, you're
Yeah, I
going
would say as a committee, I think they'll have 20 or more carries. I don't think Miles Sanders will be over 15, though. I think they're just gonna. I mean, for some reason, we'll see out of the second half. Or, coming out of the half, Boston Scott's the starting running back out of the half. It's just, I don't know. It's weird. It's weird. Whatever's going on, it's weird. And I don't know whether it's Deuce or it's Doug kind of saying this is who has to be in, but it's just frustrating that Miles doesn't get enough touches ever. Like I don't remember a game yet this season where I've come away saying, "Wow, they used him a lot. They used him right." And I don't think it's going to happen again today.
Matt off the top rope over here. We got Matt incoming. He is just like
Wow.
bringing the energy,
Angry.
bringing the energy this morning. Here comes Matt. Oh, to the next.
Yeah.
Hurts stinks. I hope we keep him as a franchise guy, so all the idiot Eagle fans get what they want. I think, like Matt, like you could say that, but then again, like if you're watching the game, and we're all Wentz fans in here, and if he has not looked right from week 1, then you could also look at the coaching, but you could also look at a lot of things, but the offensive line play as well. But again, like they have to do what they have to do, and if the players behind the scenes are torn, because they're the accountability factor starts looking in, people start pointing fingers and like, yo, he's not getting it done. They're like if Avonte Maddox is getting burned week after week after week, and we still have him out there, what do? You pull Avonte because that's being accountable. So it's like it is what it is. I think you have to just realize that Hurts is the next option. I'm not saying he's the franchise, but he's the next option to protect Carson from himself at this moment. So I mean, if you want to see what you got in the roster, I mean, there's a whole lot of theories here. Like, and if you guys in the chat, give us your theories. We want to hear your theories. If they're trying to provide trade bait, showing what he can do, are the Eagles trying to realize they're going to be picking in the top 5 and possibly could be looking at another quarterback? Could that be? Or are they taking Wentz off the field because they want to preserve his trade value? So all the coach speak and all the front office speak about Wentz is doing the great things beyond. You don't know what they're trying to do at this moment because the trickery's out there. Like, don't believe all the things you read out there, and you just have to figure out where it's coming from and then try to make an answer on that situation. Because what are your theories around? I mean, we can go.
I mean, if we're just building off of what you just said, so Carson, each week that he steps out on the field, his value continues to decrease. When you factor in his play and his contract, his value decreases every week. So my question to Matt would be, like, would you feel comfortable with just with not adjusting anything and sending Carson back out there and just hoping for the best? Because I know I wouldn't. I know a lot of the fan base wouldn't. Jalen Hurts, I don't think is the ideal situation for everybody. I think that we just don't know a lot about him. You want to sit here and say that he stinks. I think we haven't had a full evaluation on Jalen Hurts yet. I'm going to feel like I have a better sense of who Jalen Hurts is after this game, after I get to see him play a full 60 minutes. But back to what I was saying in the very beginning is that Carson Wentz, his value is decreasing week by week by week. Jalen Hurts, his value has been stagnant all year because we haven't seen what he is. We need one of these guys because they're not going to. One of these guys most likely is not going to be here next year, in my opinion. So one of them has to increase their value, and it doesn't look like it's going to be Carson right now. So I would assume that Jalen Hurts he has to increase his value so we can have some trade bait.
I mean, do you guys agree that he came in and gave a spark off the bench?
Well, I think the thing is that he brought the spark, and it's also what everybody's been saying here. I think, you could say he stinks and whatever, but everyone in this room here, I think what we all wanted was Carson Wentz to get better, this team to get better. Nobody wanted this, but it's to the point where, as Gail just mentioned, and everybody else, the sacks, he's leading the league with 50 sacks, but he was also second in the league, I believe, in quarterback hits. So he's getting destroyed out there, leading the league in turnovers, interceptions. I mean, it's bad. So you got to give him a break, man. And if we want to see him do well in the future and hopefully a competition or whatever happens next year, I think you take him out. You don't let this kid get hurt. You have $120 million. We're going to talk about the money invested and all that later. But it's like, look, I think that we need a new spark. A new quarterback is that. And Jalen Hurts brings us some excitement because we don't know what's going to happen. We know what this team has looked like. We want to be excited, okay? The season's almost over, damn it.
Yeah, so I'm in the comments right now, and Bree made a good point. Like, how can you really say that Hurts stinks at this point when he hasn't really played? And all we really see at this juncture of his career is positive. And, whenever he came in, he did provide that spark. Like, look at the first play that they allowed him to pass was that deep pass to Jalen Reagor. We haven't seen that all season. We saw it in week 1.
That's the interception. Wrong play, guy.
For Hurts. Throws it deep. And it is caught.
Like, look at
And
that.
that's why I label.
We haven't seen a play like that, even with the bad offensive line, because he got smoked on that play. We haven't seen a play like that since the first half of Washington whenever Reagor caught that 4th down bomb from Wentz. We haven't seen that. So it's not necessarily that we think he's better than Carson Wentz or anything, but is he that added spark plug that we need to flip the switch right now? And I think he is.
Shane with the Shane 6 off the top rope. My comp is McNabb. I mean, he does add that mobility. I can go back to the first time when they played McNabb, and he came in. I think it was against Washington, I think, and he gave him a shake. He had like the elusive ability in space, and he gave like 2 players a shake, and I think he got down by the goal line, or it was a touchdown. But it was like the beginning of McNabb and that excitement when he came off the bench. It was like, here we go, here's the rookie.
Yeah.
And not that I have the same excitement for McNabb because I mean he was the top 5
overall pick,
overall pick. But the idea of like what we've seen from Wentz has been so rough this season. I need something to be excited about, and this is his first opportunity to start. Like, shout out to Matt. Like, he came off the bench, and he gave us that spark. So if they develop the whole game plan around him this week, we don't know what we're going to see. The Saints don't know what they're going to see because this is all new to us too. I mean, you guys, what kind of elements do you think you're going to see today from this offense?
Can I interrupt you guys real quick on draft pick watch? As of right now, the Cowboys are up 17-0, so we would move into the 5 slot. So we're looking at a top 5 pick today.
Hey now.
Yeah, we're moving.
But quick, I'm actually happy Shane brought up the McNabb comp because I was looking at this the other day. This is from Mock Draftable. So there's a couple parameters that they measure and compare, players to pass players. So it's height, weight, arm length, hand size. They're 40, they're vertical and broad jump, basic parameters. So this is more about the intangibles, not really about talent. But Hurts's comps, he's 86.5% comparable to DJ Shockley, who was a quarterback out of Georgia in 2006. And then the second most comparable quarterback is Donovan McNabb at 86.5%. And then some other notable names, Deshaun Watson, 81.7%. If you guys remember Cole McDonald from Hawaii, he was 81.9%. But then you look, it's really weird because you look at Hurts's comps, and then you kind of can filter it by quarterback and then by overall position, any position. And so he's mostly comparable to NFL halfbacks and linebackers. which is odd. Like some of the names: Musa Smith, Patrick Queen, Jaquiski Tart, Barrett Green, which is way back when at West Virginia, Javon Leak, who's a running back out of Maryland. So it just kind of shows like the sheer power and athleticism that Hurts possesses, and I think that it could really show. Because Wentz was that super powerful guy, quick bursts, but he lost it. I mean, he lost it, and it could be for a bunch of reasons. But I mean, I would guess the ACL is the biggest, and just to have this young, hungry quarterback in there, it's gonna show us a lot. So,
shout out to AJ joining the chat.
What's up, everybody? How's everyone doing?
I heard that
Doing well, man. How are you?
I heard that you're on dad duty today.
I am and I'm not. So my wife's off work, but we're cleaning the whole house. So she's cleaning the house and
It's the holiday season.
Yeah, the baby's sleeping right now, so we're actually good. But she put me on grocery duties right before the game, which is
Put her in the
Criminal.
bathroom.
It's criminal.
yes, it is.
Against the rules, man.
Is she related to Howie Roseman? Is she like wearing the pants around there?
She's over the season, so she doesn't care.
Yeah, I mean, how did you wake up this morning with the vibes? How did you feel?
I really still don't know what to think because I'm a Wentzer through and through. But at the end of the day, I'm an Eagles fan, and when it comes kickoff, I'm gonna want to win. So if that follows through, I want Hurts to do very well. But I got a weird feeling that it's gonna be close today. It's gonna be a close game.
I've been that idea has been tossing around in my head as well. I mean, I've been coming in here just anticipating a blowout. That's what I've been saying. But to be honest with you, in my history as an Eagles fan, whenever I've expected that, they've tended to surprise me a lot of the times. I'm not saying that we're going to come out here, shock the world, and beat the Saints, but the chances of them keeping this game close, I think that there's definitely a possibility for it.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly too. I feel as if you make Taysom Hill a passer, then you can possibly keep this game close.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I had this trippy dream last night. Avonte Maddox pick six to end the game. We were up 10-6.
That's definitely
Saints were
true.
driving. Yeah, right. We were up 10-6.
I'll take what you're taking.
And Avonte Maddox took it to the house, and we won 17-6.
Yeah, that would be something. But the one thing I'm looking at, I'm just like perusing over some stats right now. And in previous years underneath of Doug Peterson, we've been pretty sound on third and fourth down on our conversion percentage. This year, both categories, we are sitting at 27th in the league at 37.97% to convert on third down and 34.78% to convert on fourth down. That has been something that we've really been struggling with. And I think a key factor of that has been those dumb ass situations where we're, bringing Jalen Hurts onto the field to throw Wentz, out of his rhythm for one play at a time. Do you guys think that there's any possibility today that we see the reverse where of what we've seen all year and they trot Carson out for like one play?
I would love it. I would love it, but I don't think so.
Hey, Sparky, get out a wide receiver. Get out a wide receiver.
I've been doing it all year.
And I'll be sitting there on the sidelines like,
I know that ain't who I think it is.
I'm at the point now where I think that Carson's honestly at the point where he needs to be a healthy scratch on game day for the rest of the season. So
you would be dressing Tutty Sutty over Carson in the backup role?
You can't, man. He's a gamer. You got to
Yeah, I feel like he's got to be in it.
You're a captain, right? I don't know if you're team appointed, but captain. But I think you're a captain. You got to. It's all a part of being a captain is showing up and being held accountable. They held him accountable, so he's got to sit there and take it, man. That's part of playing football. I think you just have to do your job, but he's also a captain. So if he has to be the clapper, so be it.
He's been there before.
Yes, he has.
Paul says, do you think Jenkins made a great point about our front office in his recent interview?
No. Just because I mean, yeah, he's made a good point, but let's not forget, Malcolm, the reason he left was because of money. And he said it wasn't. It was absolutely because of money. He wanted to get more money. He didn't. So he took his talents elsewhere. That's what kind of really, pissed me off. That he was like, oh, I've and don't get me wrong, he did so much for this organization. He played 99.9% of the snaps that he could have. But you got to realize at the end of the day, this is about money, and it wasn't about. It could have been a bad relationship between him and Howie Roseman, but he wasn't getting paid as much as he thought he deserved, and that rubbed me the wrong way a little bit. I don't know about you guys. What do you guys think?
So you'd rather have paid Jason Peters all that money that he got to move from guard to left tackle than pay Jenkins? I'm totally against that.
And he makes less money now. I think you should have definitely signed him.
100%.
You also got to think of positional value. I mean, the tackle position. My dog is. That tackle position is of the utmost importance in the NFL. I mean, they're the second most paid position group in the NFL. So I think that has to be factored in. And the whole Dillard thing when he got injured, it sucked. Shit went south. I would have obviously wanted them to pay Malcolm Jenkins before Jason Peters, but I'm not saying. I mean, honestly, I didn't think they needed to pay either. And I think if Malcolm Jenkins was here, the same thing would be happening, regardless of a leadership role he played.
That's what I was just about to ask you, Luke, because I'm looking at, and I agree with you that the situations are different because we were very thin on the offensive line, and we thought that, with Jalen Hurts moving back to safety, we would have that kind of depth and we'd be able to get by without it. But I'm looking at the situation that we're in right now where we have 8 captains on this team and we have no real leaders, it seems like. And so Malcolm Jenkins definitely filled that role within that locker room. And, while positionally and depth-wise, it may have made more sense to have Jason Peters here than Malcolm Jenkins. I'm not saying that it had to be one or the other, but I'm saying that, he's definitely being missed in that locker room right now. And that's someone I would have totally invested money into just to have him there for that reason.
And it's crazy to see the money that we paid. When you look back, it's, back in hindsight, like Jason Peters, that money that you used right there, who could have we kept? If it was Jenkins or if it was another player, then you start looking at Jason Peters and his goddamn toe, and you're like, and then he's out for the rest of the season. Come on, man! Again, we all remember that the shit that really bothers me is thinking about Baldy breaking that big news about the big signing.
Yeah. Yeah, he got called out on that too, and then everybody was like, "This is the big news, really?" He's like, "You guys don't understand the depth that he provides," and we're like, "I think we understand what we're getting in Jason Peters back this year, and it's not as valuable as a guy like Malcolm Jenkins."
And my whole thing with the Jenkins thing is not even just on field; everything he did off field for the organization and for the city. I just don't know how you let someone like that go. It just didn't make sense to me at all, especially with the leadership qualities. You could tell that, you could see the drop off of they're just not a true leader on this team right now. And to give Peters a face value of up to $6 million this year, and Jenkins is getting $8 million per for the Saints, it just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, and we're looking at a team that has loyalty contracts that we have been complaining about, and Howie Roseman is giving out contracts to people simply for nostalgia reasons, being a part of that 2017 Super Bowl team. That's the guy that deserved the loyalty contract right there of anybody.
Well, Malcolm Jenkins' parents had ended up bumping into Brian Cameron from and he said that he was like, Malcolm doesn't feel like he's being respected, and he feels like, he's gonna probably go to the Saints. And Brian was like, "Yo, should I drop?" I was like, "Yo, you should drop this on the timeline. This is his parents, dropping the parents straight."
Right.
And then what? A week later, 2 weeks later, he signed with the Saints, and he kind of reiterated saying that he didn't feel like the respect was reciprocal.
I think Malcolm brings up a good question. This is something that me and Jimmy talked about on his show just a couple days ago. We were weighing the factor of how close a guy like Carson Wentz and Jason Kelce, how close they are. And we're thinking about Jason Kelce's kind of been teetering these past couple seasons on the idea of retirement. Does Jason Kelce want to stick around for a rebuild if we're moving forward with a quarterback to be named or Jalen Hurts? Or like if Carson Wentz gets, does
he want another man's hands in his crotch? I mean, Wentz.
That's what we're asking.
That's a close relationship. Now you got the old young Jalen Hurts changing the snap count. Everything's different. I don't know, man. Like this seems kind of a mess right now. Like, does Kelce want to taint his legacy coming back here?
I kind of.
That's important for today's game too, though.
I kind of spoke on this on the timeline a little bit as well, and I think he needs to retire. To be honest with you, I think Kelce kind of lost the steps. If I'm being honest, you talk about like he's not picking up stunts well. He's not picking up bull rushes well. He stops blocking in the middle of plays. Like I watched every single offensive snap from the season through week 13, and Kelce is a guy who is supposed to not show up on tape, and he's showing up in at least 2 snaps in every single game, where he's not picking up a blitzer, where he's not picking up a stunt on the defensive line, where he's getting bull rush and bullied. Like, I think it's time for Kelce to retire. And honestly, it would hurt my heart because I love Jason Kelce, but I think that not only do we need the cap space next year, he's taking up $8.4 million, but I think it's time for Kelce to move on.
Very interesting.
Hot take, Soko.
How much do you think that whole the absence of Brandon Brooks plays into
enormous?
Kelce really not
big time.
I think it's huge.
Enormous.
Yeah,
It's all
I was gonna
about
say,
trust
he's
on
been
that
the only
offensive line.
stalwart, though. You know what I mean? He's 100 straight games. It's like where everyone else is falling apart. That's the one guy, and I think he's having issues because he has to do so much more. I think he's still playing to an elite level. He just it might be his last year. I don't know if he mentally wants to do it because physically he's getting his ass kicked. And for him to come out like the Iron Man he is, I love the dude. And I wouldn't be surprised if he did peace out. But it's definitely a struggle to have Sayamalu out since week 2. Finally just got him back. Brooks has been gone. This whole line's been decimated. We talked about, it's the 12th different line in 13 games. He's the only one when you see that graphic that sits right there in the middle. So it's going to be tough to see what happens there.
Offensive line's all about trust, man. You got to be aligned with each other. You got to be on the same page. And you could tell none of that, not any of the offensive linemen are on the same page this year. So when you sit here and say that Kelce is missing these blocks and letting blitzers go, these are probably usually plays that Brooks and Samalu pick up when he's looking on another person coming in the gap or for a blitz.
And that's the thing. I'm not just picking on Kelce either. Even whenever Samalo came back, though, like whenever Samalo is blocking somebody, like he'll double team that blocker instead of picking up the stunt guy. And you're talking about the left guard over the last 4 years. That's supposed to be a communication thing. And I understand, like, sure, maybe my lot is supposed to communicate an outside stunt, like a defensive end stunt to the inside. Like, I get it, but like the left side of your line, like, well, I won't say the left side of your line, like Samalo and Kelce are your guys. And whenever he's getting blown up by guys on the left side that Samalo is supposed to be communicating to him, that's whenever I see an issue. And one of the sacks that I saw on Carson Wentz, like Kelce got driven back real hard on a bull rush from a defensive tackle and just got completely like obliterated, like pushed straight back into Carson, and then just stopped blocking. Like he pushed him off to one side and then just stood there and watched him. And the defensive tackle continues to pursue Carson, and he just like grabs him by the arm. And like dude, if you're not gonna, if that's the effort that you're gonna put out, like it's hard, man. It's hard to move on from a guy like that because Kelce has been, a cornerstone at the center position for so long. But man, like his play is starting to deteriorate a little bit.
Shout out to Chris Malley up in the chat. We need some positive vibes. This is game day. I mean, You got the Rager jersey on.
Hey,
Heavy. You got the Dawkins number 20 on the hat. How you feeling? How did you wake up feeling about this game right now?
I mean, I'm just not stressed out like I am most game days. This is like one that I think that we're all just gonna sit back and we're just gonna let it happen. Like I feel like almost like we're like the teachers here, and we're just stressed out about like our students not doing good on like the exams and everything. But we're trying to mix it up this weekend. We're gonna have Jalen Hurts out there. I mean, it's just crazy enough to say that Carson Wentz is being benched at the moment for his own good, honestly, health-wise, mentally and physically, because he was getting beat up this year, and you could tell that he wasn't seeing the field and the reads very well this year. Jalen Hurts is going to come in, and he's going to be a disaster artist. Our line's still going to be bad, but he's a guy that he might be sacrificing some big opportunities down the field with his arm, but he's going to pull the ball down and run, and that's kind of what we need right now. And he's a second-round pick. We have to evaluate him, so it's just good that we're going to get to see the kid on the field and see if he can bring any energy and life to this offense.
Right. I mean, at the end of the day, it's about just trying something new. But we have Joey up in the chat. He's feeling a certain way about Wentz right now. He's Wentz stand. He says Manning threw 23 interceptions his fourth year, 19 in his fifth. Brady didn't throw over 30 touchdowns until his eighth year with Moss. Eli was fucking an interception machine. They stuck by him. They got him weapons. He won them 2 Super Bowls. Matter of fact, Eli's Super Bowl year, he had 20 interceptions. Eagle fans, loyalty is what we lack. Carson is the real deal. We have drafted him nothing. Got him shit in free agency. Trade him and give him a fresh start. We fucked him. I mean,
Joey, you are completely right on every aspect that you just said.
no,
It's this city.
don't trade him.
No. That's what I'm saying. Everything he set up to let's trade him is 100% on point. This city wants a new thing like this. They get bored real quick. They want the new thing. They don't want to stick by somebody. That it's crazy to me. Like
That Tom Brady stuff's crazy.
I know Wentz is on pace to break every single Eagles quarterback record there is, and we still want to ship him out. It's wild to me. I just don't understand it.
But we got some numbers here on trading Wentz. If the team trades Wentz before that third day of the league, which is March 19th, any team acquiring him would take on his 2021 salary, $25.4 million, and the Eagles would not have to pay him his $10 million roster bonus. The Eagles would still have to eat the $33.8 million dead cap and would be able to spread that out over multiple seasons. However, after 1 year, the Eagles can move on from Wentz and begin to build life after Carson. So.
I mean, I agree with what AJ just said in the fact that I don't want Carson to have to be shipped out of here. But if you look at that, the one scenario where it would be, I don't know, I would be able to swallow it would be that where you trade him before the third day in the league year. You have to eat it for an entire year, but ultimately you have your hands wiped clean of it by the end of the year and you can move forward as a football team. I don't want that to happen. I don't want it to come to that, but that would be the best case scenario of the bad scenarios.
James says, is the stream frozen for anyone else?
I don't believe so.
Let us know.
Let us know.
Let us know.
If you can.
Malcolm's over here trusting the process. He's taking that whole vibe from the Sixers.
Tuesday, baby.
Can we trust the process of how your residents fill in a seat, though?
Absolutely not.
Yeah, we got to get him help. And I think, people keep missing the point. Nobody here wanted Carson Wentz to fail. We want to see him succeed. So he's got to step it up, but the front office has to step it up. The coaching has to step it up. Everybody around him, we got to get him offensive line help. We worry about Kelsey, but what about Brooks? What about Johnson? How much do they have left? I saw someone a question about Urbig or Driscoll. They could possibly start at left guard if Sayamalu has to move to center. There's so many moves that could be made. So this is going to be very intriguing to see what happens this offseason. But I think Carson's the guy because of that money too. So see what we do.
Yeah,
I have a good hypothetical for you guys. So, say next year Roger Goodell announces that they're bringing in the 33rd NFL team and they're bringing in the expansion team. What 10 players on the Eagles are you protecting right now from that expansion team? I went with Slay, Josh Sweat, Rieger, Miles Sanders, Singleton, Mailata, McLeod, Goddard, Driscoll, and Herbig. What do you guys think?
I think you got a good list there. 10 players. It's a decent amount. I would say Miles Sanders. I have liked a lot of what I've seen out of Alex Singleton. We've been complaining so long about the linebacker position, and he's finally a guy who seems like he is shining and a guy that we can move forward with. I would like Alex Singleton, Jalen Reagor, all the young guys. Yeah, I mean, I want to keep the youth movement going. So I think that's the point that where we're at right now is we need to just keep the young guys, the stars that are playing on rookie contracts, and go forward with them.
Well, that's what I was just about to ask. Are you implementing like the contracts and all that in there too, or is just like pick of the litter?
Yeah, everything. Everything's involved. Basically,
yeah.
I mean, I kind of went with what Evan said with the youth movement. I mean, one, they're cheaper. Two, they have more upside, and like they have a higher ceiling. They do have a lower floor than some of the veterans because we've seen them for years. But yeah, everything involved. What would you say?
So I'd go Reagor, Wentz, Miles Sanders, Goddard, like you said, Josh Sweat, Johnson, Brooks, Graham, Kelsey. I think what's that? 8. I got 2 more.
This is an interesting one.
Singleton and let me go Mailata.
Jordan Mailata.
So with the quarterback thing, basically the reason I stayed away from both quarterbacks is because I want the NFL to pick to kind of solve our quarterback controversy for us. But.
Yeah,
get it out of our head.
I'm a Wentzer, so I'm keeping him. But yeah, I mean Fletcher Cox. I mean he's getting paid way too much money for his production. I could not keep him with that $25 million cap coming up.
So it looks like he did help restructure this year though for the carryover for next year.
Yeah, but it went from 25 to like 23 next year, so it's not really that much of a difference.
So we're having an issue with the Facebook stream. Trying to bring you guys back here. Hold with us. We might have to restart, but that is show business.
How's everybody's fantasy teams doing today? It is
dead in the water.
Absolute crap.
Got a bye week.
I had to say Gio Bernard. He's going to finish the day with -2 because he's not getting a damn touch ever since he fumbled. Tyreek Hill's got 0 catches. He's got a rushing touchdown. He's got 0 catches. Gronk is 0-0. I have Gio, Tyreek, Gronk, and I started New England's D, and I have 10 points right now.
I have 9.9 points with Robbie Anderson going, Sly going, the Giants defense, and yeah, that's it. I started the Giants defense over Miami's, which they started out hot, but now Mahomes is catching fire. So
I told you, bud.
But I still got Herbert, McLaren, Diggs, Aaron Jones, Naheem Hines, and T.J. Hockenson to go.
So you got your guns playing it later today.
Yeah.
So I'm down 5 right now, but I have 1 less player playing. I'm playing against Tannehill, Montgomery, Hopkins, Robbie Anderson, Corey Davis, and Hakeem Butler's playing in the early slate form right now. I have Kyler Murray, Zeke, Tyreek Hill, Allen Robinson, and Mike Davis playing right now. And I'm only down 5.
Did you guys see the Jeremy Chin play earlier?
Ridiculous, dude.
Stop.
It makes me so angry watching him play.
It's just like this year pisses me off because like during the draft, like we were like saying like Jefferson Rager, Chin or Logan Wilson from Wyoming.
Mhm.
And then in the third, I was like Sadiq Charles from LSU would just be like a layup. He already starts. Like it's just that easy every year. Like we just like have the entire setup for how the draft should go for the Eagles, and then we just mess it up every time.
It's just disgusting that we're fans and it really like looks that we know more about football than the actual scout department and Howie Roseman. Like that's just embarrassing.
I feel like the scouting's fine. I just feel like he overrules everything because I was reading a quote how the scouting department talked about Travis Fulgham, and the guy like stumbled upon him when he saw him in college, and was like, yeah, like there's this different Old Dominion. Like I don't think we need to draft like anyone too big, too high. Maybe we should just get someone like a Deebo Samuel, someone like a McLaurin, and then they went out and they got J-Jaw, and then they didn't even pick up Fulgham. But the scout said like he asked like Howie multiple times that he wanted to get Fulgham.
Well,
and this was like
if that's the case, then how doesn't Jeffrey Lurie step down and say like, dude, start listening to your guys, like they know what they're talking about. Like it's just,
I mean,
so
we saw what happened. That's why Lewis Riddick's not here anymore, and that's why
Right.
Andrew Berry I think was going to leave anyway because he's from the Browns. But like, there's a reason why he didn't even like hesitate with leaving. Obviously, it's a GM job, but like I don't think people really like working with Howie, if in the football people at least, because dude, Riddick's been on like what 3 different networks, and he's like bad, and he's like throwing shade towards Howie the last like 2-3 weeks.
Oh, I love it.
And that's
He's
the
about to
thing,
take
like,
he's
the
about to take
ego,
that Falcons
man.
job, I heard.
The ego with Howie is what is driving everybody away. Like
We
dude,
got an ego problem on the whole team though,
Oh yeah,
in the whole front office.
yeah.
and where does
that's-
it bleed
that's-
down from?
Yeah.
It leads you to drafting J-Jaw over, DK Metcalf. That's, everybody thinks they're smarter than the next guy. Well, the guy who makes the decision thinks he's smarter than everybody in the room. So that's who's going to get the final say.
Right.
The guy.
Yeah, so
who I-
we're all on board that something has to happen this offseason, right? Because like there's not even like a small possibility that they don't make any moves whatsoever, whether it be at GM or head coach, right? Like something happens.
Jim Schwartz is going to get scapegoated, and that's the only move they're going to make.
Man, as much as I've like come down on Jim Schwartz this year, and because like he's been off and on. It's been, as Jimmy puts it, it's been Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. You don't know what you're going to get. Sometimes they really hold us in those games, and other times they are completely nowhere to be found. So yeah, I could see him potentially being a scapegoat, but that is the guy out of all of the coordinators, all the coaches here. I don't think he's our biggest issue by any means.
No.
I agree.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Like,
Hey, gents,
Going-
we're gonna actually restart the stream so we can get the Facebook folks back.
All right.
I will send the link to y'all in a
Sounds
second.
good. Follow us over, everybody. The stream is just going down momentarily.